Hi, everyone. This is Michelle Gramoglia, the president and CEO here at Woodland Pond. And this is my very important, please watch the whole thing, serious matter weekly address for a Tuesday. Today is Tuesday, October 8th, 2024. I want to start on a couple of lighter topics and then move into a matter of great import. First and foremost, I would like to thank the Yarn Mavens, which I understand there's somewhere between 12 and 16 of our very crafty residents here that have shown me, and very proudly to be added, a whole pile of what they're referring to as fidget blankets that were handmade with love for our residents in the health center that have a need for continual movement, which is something that happens in some of the aging processes that we see. They identified a need, they stepped up, and they created these incredible multi-activity, soft and washable blankets that can be provided for our residents to use on their laps. And you'll see pictures of those in the distribution of the email that contains the link to this video. We took some photos, and that the image art on the cover of that email will be those fidget blankets. And I think we'll put up a social media post about it as well, because it's just one more incredible, selfless act done by our residents. They saw a need and they stepped in, and I could not be more proud. We have a couple of calendar related items. We have at 3 p.m. in the PAC today, a Tree of Faith program brought to you by the Interfaith Committee, that it will be a panel discussion about open and affirming houses of worship. This is affirming, referencing LGBTQ membership within the congregations. And there will be several local clergy participating in this, and it will be moderated by Lynn Mail. I think this is going to be a really interesting topic. I'm sure that there are people that feel strongly on both sides of this. And again, we are encouraging respectful debate, and this is a perfect opportunity for education and discussion. At 7:15 this evening in the PAC, we have theater night with Fred and Joe, and they will be presenting a recreation of Mercury on the Air's broadcast of Dracula based on the original 1938 radio script. Tomorrow on Wednesday at 3 p.m. in the PAC, very important meet the candidate session. So this is where you have the opportunity to hear from the 6 candidates that are currently running for the vacancies for the Residence Council. They are vying for 4 open positions. Please do not miss this, whether you're there in person or watch after the fact, because this is a great way to get to know those candidates. On Friday at 2:45 p.m. in the PAC, the Starlight Trio will be here for another live music session. And on Saturday at Saturday, October 12th at 3 p.m. in the PAC, we will have Benjamin Wheel and Jim Stewart, who Benjamin is the son of former resident Daphne Wheel. And they will return to present Not a Day Goes By, the songs of Stephen Sondheim, and they will perform some of Sondheim's greatest works. And they will also talk about his life and career. Looking to next week, SUSCOM has asked that we invite everyone to join us for a 2 p.m. presentation on Tuesday related to some education about junk and unwanted mail, certainly the impacts of it on the environment and so forth, but also to really talk about understanding the magnitude of junk and unwanted mail that comes to Woodland Pond. And most importantly, how we can help you to reduce the amount of junk and unwanted mail that you are receiving. So this is going to be another really good one. So please do plan on attending that. I do have a couple of suggestions from the suggestion box to quickly go through. And the first is, it should be made clear to residents that residents are permitted to discuss politics with like-minded residents in private locations. And then in parentheses, it says like at their dining room, at their table in the dining room. And of course, that's true. The issues and concerns of protecting Woodland Pond's 501c3 status relate to what Woodland Pond is permitting or perpetrating in our common areas as Woodland Pond programming. Certainly does not cover what people talk about at their dinner tables. So use your best judgment. We talked about this in the big meeting that we had, and some of you had said that, you were raised to understand that certain topics were taboo. Others feel that, everything should be on limits. You have to read your own audiences, but you certainly are free to do that at your tables, subject to the Woodland Pond Code of Conduct that is contained in the resident handbook. So you can certainly look at that to get some guidance as well. The next suggestion was to invest in a metal stand to hold the tray stands in the dining room. I did not know that this was a problem, and Jared did come and talk to me today when I brought this to him. Apparently they do slip and slide down the wall and they crash at least once a night. So Jared is going to be looking at tray stands to see what we can do so that you don't hear that clang, during dinner. And with that, I would just continue to encourage you to leave either rumors in the rumor mill or suggestions in the suggestion box, because I do read them every day, and a lot of these are easy fixes. So keep those coming. The last thing before I move into the a little bit more heavier topic is happy or not. Of course, I do continue to read those comments every day as well, and do talk with the team about any comments received. There have been a couple lately that it would have been extremely helpful to know and understand which resident left them, because it helps us to be able to look into specific things. So there was a couple of repeat comments back to back about too small of vegetable portions in takeout containers. That's a very broad comment. And it's helpful for us to understand the circumstances, like which dish was picked and whatever. So in those cases, please do use your name if you would like us to seriously look into this, because we will contact you, or we will look to see what you had ordered and what people remember about the order or whatever. I saw one from overnight that said that the salmon and vegetables were cooked perfectly, which was great, but it was a red face, so I knew something was wrong. And apparently the dish came out cold. If that ever happens, you need to send it back. There will not be any repercussions. Yours will go to the front of the line in what's called a refire, and we will make your dish for you again. Please always bring any issues of concern to your servers right at that moment so that we have the opportunity to help and correct. Okay, now on to something that is now in your email inbox, or if it's not there yet, it will be in the next couple of minutes. Newsday, which is a semi-regional publication on Long Island, has been following a matter related to a CCRC on Long Island called the Amsterdam at Harborside, which I will refer to as the Amsterdam, both in the memo that I issued this morning and in my address here, because the Amsterdam has had a very troubled financial history since they've opened. They opened the same year we did in 2009. And some of you remember that I issued a memo and we had a discussion very similar to this. I'm sure I did a weekly update on it or a special video, but certainly a memo and a similar article notifying the public at that time in March of 2023 that the Amsterdam was filing for its third bankruptcy restructuring, which is, of course, not good. One is bad enough, but 3 in 15 years is very troubling. And that they were working with the New York State regulators to understand options and opportunities, and that a buyer for the organization would be sought. The article today, which is not entirely a surprise to those of us within the industry, I think a lot of you know that I have a very close relationship with the regulators, announces that while in the last 18 months, an interested buyer had come forth and been identified, the applications that were put forward to the state to allow that purchase to happen by the new buyer and new operator, that has fallen through. I have issued a memo to you all, and I've included the article. This is in your email inboxes, and I will actually have these printed for those that do not have green dots so that you can actually see this. I think it's extremely important. This also went to our entire listserv, which includes your adult children, if we have their contact info, or your loved ones, all of the staff and our board members. So what we know at this time is that the financial straits that the Amsterdam has been in and had gotten particularly troublesome last March of 2023 have declined and gotten worse. You will see some data and statistics in my report that compares the Amsterdam financial information to the best of that we've been able to gather to Woodland Pond. You can certainly highlight some differences, but their primary challenge is and has been occupancy. They were around 50% last March when we first brought this to your attention. As of today's article, it's reported that of their 329 independent living units, they presently have 181 residents. So that would include double and single occupancy. So that means that they're definitely below 50% by that math. And you'll see that juxtaposed to Woodland Pond, that for our 207 independent living residents, we presently have 262 independent living actual residents. So we have 207 residences, apartments, cottages in independent living. And of those, we have 262 residents. Huge juxtaposition. Why this is so troubling now versus when we talked in March of 2023 is because at that time, there was a very large pot of refunds that were due by the Amsterdam to residents that had passed, that had not been paid timely. And when I say very large, at that time, it was $25 million. So residents were still receiving their care and residing in the community, but those residents that had passed, the families were late in receiving refunds to the tune of $25 million. That has grown since then. We don't know exactly by how much, but New York State Department of Health and DFS have indicated that it has grown. Juxtapose that to Woodland Pond, we have, and that was for over 30 residents that were waiting for money, their families. Woodland Pond currently owes 3 families money, all people that have passed very recently. We have no past due refunds. All will be paid within 30 days of their independent living units occupying. So it's just a matter of timing. And where the Amsterdam's pot of those pending refunds was $25 million and has now grown, Woodland Ponds is $838,000. This is very, very significant. In the fact that this sale has not progressed, and when you read the article, you will see that there is, as I say in my memo, a lot of finger pointing. It does not come with the amount of optimism in the language used as was presented in the March of 2023 article. And most upsettingly is reference to the fact that there is not as much assurance that these residents will not lose their homes. And that is very, very sobering. To my knowledge, in all of the history of CCRCs across the entire country, there are presently 1,900-ish not-for-profit CCRCs. It has long been my understanding that historically, there has only ever been one CCRC to close its doors. But in understanding what I know about this situation at the Amsterdam and the article that came out by Newsday today, I would say that it is a distinct possibility that the Amsterdam will close. And for that, clearly, not only is it sobering, but it's concerning. So it's very important for all of our residents to have real data from me, which you now have in your hands, or you will as soon as we put the paper copies into the cubbies. They should be in your email already. Your families have the information. I have opened my door. My direct contact information is in that memo, and I truly invite you to question or ask the questions that you have. If I determine that there is a lot of uncertainty on this and we need to get together as a group in person, we will absolutely do that this week. I'm going to take the temperature over the next 12 to 24 hours and then figure out how many residents are asking questions and so forth. And then we will decide. If that's the case, we will add something to the calendar for Thursday. But for right now, it's very important for you to read the memo that I issued and the attached Newsday article. I would read it a couple of times and then we can talk again. That's all I have for today. Thank you.